My guest right now on Cinema Showcase, the writer, director of the 20th Century Fox film Aliens, James Cameron. It's very good to see you. Thanks for taking this time.
Here.
This motion picture, Aliens, is, to put it mildly, I think a tumultuous experience. Watching it in a theater full of people is an event, and it is certainly a film I would recommend watching with an audience.
It's an audience movie.
I don't know if you have attended the film with
Just
great
once,
numbers of people.
Just once. It was.
It must have given you a good feeling.
It was fun. I had the same feeling when we did Terminator and saw it for the first time with a just sort of an average crowd, let's say, in a big cinema, and you find that the participation with the screen is what's really, that's what's rewarding to me as a filmmaker. I'm not as rewarded by, let's say, good critical reviews or whatever. I'm rewarded by the kind of the universality of the experience, meaning that when you see 500 people or 1,000 people more or less all responding in the same way, then you know you've touched a chord. There's something there that's in everybody, and that's what we strived for, consciously or unconsciously.
I know you have a deep regard for Ridley Scott's first film. What prompted you to want to do a sequel to it?
Well, I was initially contacted to write a story, to try and basically to crack the story, because it had lain fallow for several years. And there was no real discussion of me directing at that point, because I hadn't done The Terminator, and as a director I was a completely unknown quantity. So I wrote the story. They were very enthusiastic about it, they being the studio and the executive producers from the first film. And it just sort of progressed from there. And by the time I had completed The Terminator, you know, and they asked me to direct it. It was a question of you know, why not, as opposed to me calling them up and saying, can I do it? And then that became the question. To, you know, do we do it or don't we? When I say we, I mean my wife is the producer of this film as well, and we're sort of partners. And there was some trepidation about following in Ridley Scott's footsteps. For me personally, because I'm an admirer of him as a film artist, and in a general sense because of the success of the first film and the comparison factor. And I think there's also the basic stigma of a sequel in general, that people expect it to cost twice as much and be half as good, and you know, that sort of thing. So it was a challenge, but basically Gail and I like challenges, so we went for it.
The first film has been described equally as a science fiction film and a gothic mystery, I suppose. For those people who have yet to see your film, what new can they expect?
I think it has stylistic elements of the first film, but it goes more into the realm that interests me, which is seeing a group of very interesting and complementary characters in a stressful environment, and then reacting to it through action or whatever. I think the emphasis is on action, the fast cutting, the excitement, which complements the fear. If you have nothing but sustained tension and fear for 2 hours, I think at the end it's draining without any release. It's just all pent up. This film has the releases.
Right.
It has the purgings, which I think make it a more rounded kind of experience.
Well, I want to congratulate you on Aliens, and I want to get in a final plug before we go to a scene from the film, for the brilliant musical score that this film has by James Horner, who is one of our best dramatic composers today.
Right. Well,
excellent score.
James has done some superb work, and we're fortunate enough to have some of it in this film.
No, it's very powerful, and you've done a superb job. This has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ripley?
I don't want to hear about it, Bishop.
she's alive. There's still time.
In 19 minutes, this area is going to be a cloud of vapor the size of Nebraska.
Hicks, don't let them leave.
We ain't going anywhere.
Attention, emergency. All personnel must evacuate immediately. You now have 15 minutes to reach minimum safe distance. Attention, emergency. All personnel must evacuate immediately.